Together, there is a power, there is a presence, there is an energy where the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. It's the synergistic mind of God, where we can feel that energy. It's palpable. We can feel it. It's here. And as we open today and we acknowledge this beautiful Valentine's Day, the day where we declare our love and we put that energy out there, really every day is Valentine's Day. And the opportunity to realize that this universe, this world, is the sum total of all the love in it and all the hate in it. That's right. And so as we embody the love and create a critical mass, and that means we're tipping the scales in favor of spirituality, in favor of love, that all that hatred is absorbed. All that energy is absorbed. So today, on this Valentine's Day, we're talking about the law of attraction. And in 1926, Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote this book. This is the 100th anniversary of his birthday. Beautiful leather-bound Science of Mind textbook. I call it the Science of Mind Big Book. And in this, there is a chapter on the law of attraction, 1926. Now, everybody's jumped on the law of attraction bandwagon, and they're putting out a shingle because they took a class once. Oh, wow, this law of attraction, you can get anything you want. And Dr. Holmes says, you can't get anything you want. He says it's all by right of consciousness. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something for nothing. It is developing a consciousness. And when we develop a consciousness, a vibratory frequency is emitted and resonates to the energies that we want to pull in to our circle of life. And so the law of attraction is about developing a consciousness for what it is that we want to experience in our lives. Now, I love Spiritual Cinema Circle. And Stephen Simon was a director. He directed Somewhere in Time. He directed What Dreams May Come. And he and Neil Donald Walsh got together. And Neil Donald Walsh was in my congregation in San Diego. And Neil was a ghost writer. And he moved to Oregon and wrote to me because he was in need. And I said, you know what, Neil? You are the most fantastic writer. Why don't you start writing books with your own name on it? So out of that, he was homeless for a year and wrote a book called Conversations with God. And then it's just taken off. He's been on the New York Times bestseller list countless times, and is a magnificent force in our world. And Stephen Simon got together with Neil Donald Walsh, and he said, we need some spiritual films, all this violence and all these things that we're putting out there into the atmosphere, and we carry a mental atmosphere and an emotional atmosphere with us. So they created Spiritual Cinema Circle. And they send, I've been a charter member, and they send out a DVD once a month, and you can go in on the web, and you can, if you want to start being a member. And they sent out a short, and it was like a Valentine's special. And it was the Israeli film group. And it showed the Great Wall, right? The Great Wailing Wall, the Western Wall in Israel. And it showed a most beautiful woman going up, and she was writing out a prayer request. And she put it in, she lifted a holy stone and put in her prayer request. Well, now it shows this security guard in that area of the Western Wall. He notices her immediately, and his eyes perk up. And that evening, he is the one that goes in and he takes all the prayer requests, and at the end of the month, they bury them, and they offer them up. And so he's rather curious, and he's opening a couple of them. And he opens the third one, and it says, Dear God, it is my birthday in 2 days. I will be 42. I live with someone, yet I feel so alone. And, dear God, no one has ever bought me flowers. How can this be? He reads it. The next day, you see him on his motorcycle. He's got a great big old bouquet of flowers. She's put her address that I live at 13 Shabbat Avenue. Just happen to throw that in. Okay, God, in case you forget. 13 Shabbat Avenue. On the west side. And there he delivers them. And she comes out in the morning and she sees these amazing flowers and they're gorgeous. And she just looks up into the sky and she's just so grateful. And you see her that day. And she's walking through the crowd and there's the great wall. And she's writing something on her prayer request. It said, "Dear God, the flowers were amazing. And what it made me realize was that no one has ever dedicated a song to me. How can this be? How can this be?" He's going over all the prayer requests. He sees hers. He opens it up. The next day, you see him with like the old Motorola with the kind of horn on it. We used to see the little Jack Russells kind of listening. He's up on a huge building above where she lives. And it's this amazing French song that's coming out over the loudspeaker. And it's filling the energy. And suddenly you see her run out in her nightie and she's got her little robe on and she's running out and she's just so amazed at this music, this French love song. Everyone can hear it. And she is just so grateful. And the third day, she goes to the Western Wall and she says, "Dear God," because he finds it that night, "Dear God, thank you." And then the film shifts into another frame and you see her in bed. And you see her turning to her husband. And you don't know who it is, but as he turns to her, it is the security guard at the Western Wall, there, overseeing everything that is suddenly, through the Holy Stone and her willingness to fill out this little prayer request, he rises to the occasion of all that he is and obviously, he wants to make her happy. And yet realizes he had never given her flowers, nor had he ever dedicated a song to her. And suddenly the spirit of love and romance filled his soul, and you see them embrace. And what I love about these things is I didn't suspect that he was her husband. I just suspect that he was doing, this kind deed. But the truth is, every one of us, we are all at the prayer wall. We can put our prayer request into the Holy Stone, and we can open up to the law of life, the law of correspondence, the law of attraction, and creating an energy field to receive that which we have put out into the universe. And when we put these energy, ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. Because they that asketh what? Receive. They that seeketh what? Find. And those that knock, the door is opened, right? Yeah. And the door is opened from within. Remember that picture? I grew up with it, all of us that were raised in fundamentalism. Jesus is knocking at a door. Have you ever noticed there's no handle on the door? There's no door. It's you got to open the door from within. And you open the door from within. And you commune with the Spirit. And you commune with your God, whatever you conceive your God to be. Alan Cohen, who is a wonderful seminar leader, said that when he was in Greece, there was a woman that came to him and said, "I am very, very unhappily married. I asked my husband for a divorce. He wouldn't give it because not in his family there are no divorces, but it was a loveless marriage. There was no emotion there. I knew he didn't love me. So I began writing myself love letters. I would write the most beautiful love letters about the energy of love and who I am as a woman and a person." And she just said, I went on, and I did this every day. And one day he found one of my letters. It was unsigned, and he thought it was from one of my lovers. And so he threw it in my face and said, I can never compete with this. You can have your divorce. And stomped out. And she said, that was the happiest day of my life. You know, some bless us by coming and others by going. You know that. Go with God, but by all means go. And she said it opened the space for the love of her life. Because we take, energetically, we take all of our thoughts, our experiences with us into a relationship. Then we think they're going to, you know, we want them to make us happy when we don't make ourselves happy. We learn to make ourselves happy. Happiness creates greater happiness, brings that into the energy field so it can be all embracing. And it's so interesting when you don't see someone for a while, you go, well, they're in a relationship. Like, so? They're in a relationship. Real love is all inclusive and embracing. It doesn't shut down and implode on itself. Then, you know, they're shot out of the relationship, they're back, you know, right? Didn't work. They didn't do it for me. I wanted them to do it for me, but they didn't do it for me. No one's going to do it for us. It's just such a rude awakening. So the rude part is that it doesn't work, and the awakening is, hey, I got to love myself. That's the awakening. Because the rude part, you know, we got. But the awakening, right? The awakening. I and my Father, Mother, God are one. And that I open to this energy, this law of correspondence, bringing into the things of my life that absolutely work. I cannot tell you how blessed I felt when I was in India. Just energetically, and to be in that energy, and to have someone say, I want to fulfill your dream of India, and to retain a driver, and take me all over southern India, into the southernmost tip of India, where I could see the sun rising and the moon setting, and then be there at 6 a.m. with 2,500 people the next day with, wow, we're going to see the sun rise and the moon set. It was absolutely mystical. And to have all these young people there and all this energy, it was just absolutely magical. And then every temple that I went to receive the blessing of this beautiful Hindu priest. And then they put a lei of sandalwood, you know, and fresh flowers. And of course the bindi. And the bindi is that mark you see on the forehead. It's to open the third eye, the pineal gland that sees through appearances, conditions, and effects. And no matter where anyone came in a socioeconomic way, there was devotion, there was reverence, there was energy. We all had our shoes off. Everybody's got to take their shoes off. And you put them, you know, on these shelves. And you walk in, cast off your shoes, for where you stand is holy ground. And what that means for a metaphysician is cast off what no longer serves you. Let that go. Return it to its native nothingness from whence it came. Let nothing and no thing stand between us and our spiritual understanding. And when we get that, we open such a space for ourselves. So I thought, every kind deed that I've ever done in my life, every good thing I ever sent out into the universe, every unconditional act of kindness that I have ever performed manifested itself in India, to have someone say, I want to fulfill your dream of India, sending me all over. He has 4 beautiful homes in India, sending the chef and the maids and everybody there that would be awaiting me when I got there. It was just absolutely a mystical, magical, miraculous experience. And then flying me to Delhi so that I could experience the Taj Mahal. And I just opened my arms and I said, this is a dream fulfilled. And I had my driver and a guide he knew about the architecture, he knew about the history, and he was just sharing. He said, come and sit in the Princess Diana seat. You know, there's a Princess Diana bench there, and I sat down, and then everyone wanted their picture taken with me because they thought I was related to her. And I had, wherever I went in India, people wanted their picture taken with me. I have hundreds of pictures of it. Then I would say, well, take one with my camera too. So I got, you know, with families that I didn't even know, and the children, and I'm holding the children, and the grandpa comes in, and then the great grandpa, and we just got this huge thing, family portraits. And my dear friend, who I just love, Miguel Criado, who is a double prosthesis, and he's an artist here in Palm Springs. And he wrote in my Facebook, is because they've never seen a white person who radiates spirituality. I don't necessarily believe that, but that was his take why everyone wanted my picture. So energetically, when we're feeling in that joy spot, tune into your joy channel. If you're not on your joy channel, tune in. Little fine tuning, right? You want to know if you're, here's my barometer. If I'm an ego, I'm not feeling a whole lot of joy. Just not. But when I'm at myself, I am feeling joy, which we are told is the most infallible sign of the presence of God, is joy. So today, let's tune into our joy channel. Let's acknowledge that there is a law of attraction. And in this book, he states about the mystics who would teach their devotees to embrace themselves and say, oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. But I added to it. I added, and oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful you. Let's do that. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful you. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful you. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful you. And as we open that space of wonderfulness and the childlike wonder and the energy that you are as close to God as I am ever going to get, I am as close to God as you are ever going to get. And if I am in that place in me and you are in that place in you, there truly is only one of us, because there's a holy stone. And we place our prayer in that holy stone within us. And the universe always says yes, because we're going somewhere. Where is it? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. And so it is. God bless you, and happy Valentine's Day.
If there were no